Okay, check one, two, check one, two. I forgot how abrupt the transition is usually for the cooking scene, but anyway, and I guess welcome to the food truck. My name's Ruka. So today we are going to be making a. I don't know if it's actually a street food classic. I know it's like a bakery shop kind of thing, but basically we're going to be making this as soon as I can find the picture for it. Should have gotten this ready. But we are going to make something similar to this. For anyone who has had their fair share of Chinese food recently, they you probably have recognized this. This is a bao, right? In the Philippines, this is called shop bao. Maybe the pronunciation is a bit different, but basically the make is fairly similar, if not almost exactly the same. Uh, what you have is a nice fluffy dough on the outside and steam, so that we're going to be doing some steaming here. And then the inside is basically just some stuff put together. It can be basically anything you want to, veggies, meat, and whatnot. The the typical the typical siopao in the Philippines is this thing called asado, pork asado. It's basically, I think it's like mainly oyster sauce and a bunch of other spices and stuff like that. It's sweet, it's juicy, and it's done usually done with pork. Um, I'm not sure if it's ground pork, if it's like shredded pork, but the recipe that I've seen is mostly ground pork. And right, there is no background music right now. I probably should. Well, once we actually get started. Once we actually get started, the background music's gonna go off anyway. But just because we want to get that cooking SMR going here, no interruptions from that. Oh yeah, I probably should put a message up. Hold on. Listening to Asia Dream Radio, my favorite radio station, Dream Radio. Check the description below. Asia Dream Radio, Japan Hits. They have several stations, but Japan Hits is the main one that I listen to. I've also been recently listening to Radio Kishiwada in Osaka. Do they have a Kishiwada Radio Kishiwada online? It looks like they have a online radio also. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to put that in bookmarks for now. But yeah, I've also been listening to Radio Kishiwada. They're more of a, I guess, like your typical talk show radios and music thing in the morning, US. And I think that continues until about maybe midnight to 1 a.m. Japan time. And then after that, it's just music uh, until much later. So yeah. Anyway, I got a little sidetracked there, but I'll be, as usual, we'll be listening uh, to Asia Dream Radio for this stream. So if you want to listen along once we get going, then that's what the station's going to be. Or if you want to listen to the cooking SMR that we'll be having soon, uh, we'll have no background music and just cooking stuff as we go. But yeah, I was actually a bit of a I was actually I had a really tough time trying to figure out what to cook for this stream. I still have the bison meat that I got a few weeks ago. No, last month even. No, 2 months ago. I got the bison meat 2 months ago. I have not touched it yet. It's still in the freezer. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to, what do you call this? If I wanted to like make that into like some sort of Thanksgiving dinner kind of thing, but it's like, what can I do with bison meat? And the things that came to my mind were like stew, steak, um, stir fry, but it just didn't seem like enough of a challenge to me. So I need to play around with that first before we get to that. Or at least, we there was also like some traditional Native American recipes that had bison, but a lot of the ingredients are something I don't usually stock. And I'm trying to figure out how I can work extras of said ingredients once I if I actually once I actually get them, if I actually get them, because there's going to be like extra leftovers, let's say, of honey, hominy, and sumac, and what other ingredients are there that I don't normally use at all? But anyway, there's just a bunch of stuff, so I have to like play around with the meat first, and then figure out what to do from there. So yeah, and it's a little hard to, I think, incorporate nuts into like a bison meal. So we're gonna do the shopao, the Chinese bao, uh, in its place, which should be a little bit easier to work with. We will be making the dough from scratch, as you can see here, with the flour, dough from scratch again. We're gonna be using a half measure, and for anyone who wants to follow along with the recipe, the recipe for this one is going to be using uh let's see. I wonder if I should put that in the description instead. Yeah, let's just put that in the description instead. I'll put the description I'll put the recipe in the description after the stream. But we're going to be using a recipe I found online. I have not used this particular recipe before, but I have tried making this before. And let me just say it was a huge flop. So I haven't tried it since then, and now we're trying again on stream. So question mark on how it's actually going to work. Not entirely sure how well, but we are going to give the shot anyway. So let's go ahead and get the dough started. That way, we can work on the filling, because the dough is gonna take a while, right? The dough's gonna take a while. So let me just get ready here for a bit, and then we will get started. Yeah. So be right back. Oh, we can just keep the mic going. I keep talking with you as we're setting up. But yeah, hopefully everyone has had a good weekend so far. Um, we can finally, hopefully, leave the craziness of last week behind. But there's always craziness that's gonna happen. So we just kind of deal with it the best we can. And the best way you can do it is not necessarily don't engage with it. I mean, you're gonna get hit by the craziness whether you like it or not. What you can't control is how you're going to react to it, how you're going to deal with it. And the best thing is just, I don't know. Everyone deals with it a little bit differently. So my suggestion to that is just find your happy place. I think that's really what it comes down to. Find your happy place. And if your happy place is not where all the craziness is, then try to get your mind out of that spot. It's not healthy to begin with. It is not healthy. Oh, no, Apple, no, no. I don't want to update right now. Please don't update. Don't update, Apple. Okay, camera's good. The mic should be okay. Mic should be fine. But I'm just looking at the stuff right now around the cooking station, and holy crap, it's busy here. Very, very busy. I think I got more things here than what I normally do for a cooking stream. And it's a little bit intimidating, so let's go ahead and get started. I am going to need gloves for this, because if we don't use gloves, I am going to have quite a bit of mess in my hands, and I really, really don't want that. Really don't want that. Okay, so here I already set aside some ingredients ahead of time, just to help out with the amount of stuff I brought in here. It's like ridiculous, honestly. We got so much stuff in this place. It's ridiculous. So we got 250 grams of flour. 250 grams of flour is about 2 cups. So again, we're not using a mixer. I wish I could use the mixer, but since we're not using the mixer, we gotta do this all by hand. And I'm just making a little well here in the middle. That is where we're going to add all our dry ingredients first. So dry ingredients, we got flour. Where is my other stuff? Probably shouldn't put this right away, but let's see. Oh no, where's my spoon? Okay. You know what? I was just gonna eyeball some of these things, but I think I might go a little bit less than eyeball. So, oh wait, I did not adjust some of these measurements for this one. Okay, so we're gonna have to do it on the fly. My recipe card here says half a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna go 1/4, because I think a half a teaspoon might be a little bit too much for this. Not a whole lot of salt. The salt is just for a teeny tiny bit of flavor balancing. You're not gonna taste that whatsoever, but it is there. 100 grams of sugar. Okay, so sugar. Let's set that flour aside for now. We're gonna do the sugar here. And you may or may not be able to see the scale. It's a little hard to see, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, it's a little hard to see, but we're gonna try to get 50 grams of sugar, because 100 is for the full batch. This is like a half batch. And does it help to have a scale? A lot, yes. It helps a lot to have a scale, and I put way too much sugar. That is over 100. That is over 100. Basically, I think 1/4 cup of sugar is roughly around 45 grams. So if you try to, like, let's say a recipe asks you for 100 grams of sugar, that's a full cup. That's a full cup. And these are just numbers that you can like experiment with on your own. That's basically how I knew it. Everyone, and then you can make your approximations from there. Like, oh, what is it? What am I thinking? Hold up. I also forgot one other thing. Gotta move the chat. On my side, I gotta move the chat, because otherwise I won't be able to see it. I won't be able to see it otherwise. Okay, so 50 grams of sugar. You just kind of like get a scale and measure that stuff yourself. Because I think there's some equivalencies online, but you know, their measuring method might be a little bit different, so use what works best for you and try to figure things out from there. That's basically how I do my stuff anyway. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, so that's 1 teaspoon. If I find my baking powder. Ideally, I would have pre-measured all this stuff ahead of time, but for the sake of the stream, I went ahead and decided to do it on stream instead, which is, you know, this is so that we can learn together how this is done. Now, I don't think the recipe actually calls for yeast. For some reason, this recipe doesn't have yeast in the recipe, but we are going to be using yeast for this one, otherwise the sugar is kind of moot. Because the sugar is mainly for the yeast food. Food for the yeast, and we're going to be using 1 teaspoon of that yeast. We did add baking powder, but the baking powder is just like a helper in this case. You don't really need it. The yeast is more important here. But yeah, let's see. What do we have? Baking powder, salt, sugar. We got sugar. So the only things left now to add are the wet ingredients. So I have some milk. I think the original recipe asked for a cup of milk. We are using half a cup of milk. And also some vegetable oil. So we're using that. But before we do that though, I'm just going to go and mix this. Just do a little quick hand mixing. Okay. Hand quick mixing, make a little well in the middle. If you add more flour, the well would be a lot deeper, but we don't have as much flour here, so it's not going to be quite as deep. Okay, so the milk, very important. Usually you keep this in the refrigerator, right? But for this one, you need to get this at room temperature. At least room temperature. I think the recipe says warm milk. I think room temperature milk should work just fine. So room temperature it is. But warm milk I think is the ideal. And then 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm just going to eyeball the 1 tablespoon of oil. That may or may not be 1 tablespoon. That might be a little bit over, but that's okay. That's okay. Alright, let's go ahead and mix all this. Hey Benny, welcome. How's it going? How's it going? We're making some dough right now for our recipe today. Making some steam buns. And we're going to try to add some nuts to the filling of the steam buns. But yeah, the dough making is going to take a little while though. Just because we're doing by hand, 1. And we gotta wait for this thing to rise, and that's gonna take at least an hour. So during that hour, we need to make our filling and get that all set. But for now, just enjoy the ASMR mixing sounds, because I don't know what else to say here. To be honest, unless you guys have something that you want to like talk about. But otherwise, this should be quite relaxing. What's going on with the filling? The filling we'll talk about once we get there, but it's going to be a meatless filling. Very meatless. But yeah, we'll talk about that more once we get there. Can you hear the mixing, by the way? I'm just curious. I'm seeing it in the audio, but I'm not sure if it's actually coming through. Oh, this is sticky. All right, good. Thank you. stuff is flying out. We don't want that. Want it to be all here. Oh, did some of it get on my... Oh, some of it got on my pop filter. Oh. How did you fly so high? I don't understand. Okay. Let's go back to it. I think it normally takes, if I was using a mixer, this would take maybe about 10 to 12 minutes, but since I'm doing it by hand, it's going to take a little bit longer than that. That's okay. I need a workout today anyway. And ideally, I will be using the desk for this, but I don't want the mess to get everywhere. So that's why we're mixing in the bowl instead. And all I'm doing is cutting this in half, pressing down, pressing, cut, press, turn, cut, press, turn. Have you ever watched Food Wars? I watched, let's see, I think I watched the first few episodes of Food Wars, and it was a little bit ridiculous, but I think it was better at least than some of the other cooking anime I have watched before. Like I watched Cooking Master Boy, that was semi-realistic, but was also a little bit ridiculous. I watched Yakitake Japan, that was super ridiculous. I don't think you can even consider that as a cooking anime, to be honest. But yeah, I have watched Food Wars. I don't think I got very far in it. I'm not exactly sure why. But let's see. I did hear from a friend of mine that I think it's done now, right? I think it's done now. And I think Food Wars second season, when, spoilers by the way, someone you didn't expect to showed up. I think it was like the MC's brother or something, because I think the dad said before, "You are my only son," or you don't have any siblings. And then second season comes out and he says, or second arc, whatever. And he says like, "Oh, you do have a brother," or something. And then I don't know, something happened there. Food Wars, anime where the food is so good it makes people yes, yes. It's I mean, good food should elicit some feelings. Maybe not to that extent. Maybe not to that extent. It's just, you know, what are we watching this for? What are we watching the anime for? I do have to admit, most, if not, most of the cooking techniques in the series is legit, right? But it still takes a lot of practice to make some of the things they make in the show or in the series turn out as good as it does. If not practice, just a lot of time in general to prep what they do. I mean, it's anime, so you forgive it because of that. But at the same time, I think there have been people since then though that have tried to make the dishes from the show in real life to varying degrees. A lot of them are home cooks. I don't think I've seen a professional cook handle it yet. I don't know. I know Babish has tried some of them, but I don't think Babish is a professional cook, is he? I think he's just a home cook, right? Or am I wrong about that? Because a lot of times when I see him cook, the results are very rough at best. So that's why I'm thinking he's not professional, but You know, he still, I mean, he still does his due diligence. If it doesn't work, he tries to make it work. Man, how much more kneading do I have on this? How long have I been kneading? The dough is not quite there yet. It is. It's still rough. It is very rough. I may have to put more muscle into this. If I don't have any muscles, this is gonna develop some muscles. The thing is, we're working with a smaller batch of dough, so not a whole lot of material to work with as far as the folding is concerned. So that makes it a little bit difficult. It makes it tougher. It feels tougher. But I just need to punch it down. And this is why I try not to make anything that uses bread dough on stream, just because it takes so long. So long. Cookies are fine, but I don't usually have good cookie ideas to justify doing that on stream. Because usually when I do cookies, I just like put stuff together and shape it and toss it into the oven. I do nothing special. I don't do icing. I don't have any icing, what do you call this, decorations. I'm not, decorating is not my forte, but I guess some people would like to see that, huh? But I do like kneading dough. But making dough takes a lot of flour. Imagine getting punched like this though. Your back, pulling the muscles in your back, punching it down, massaging. I'm basically massaging this thing. Just imagine that's your back being massaged right now. Man, I wish someone would massage me like this. Very forceful, yet gentle. We'll give this about 5 more minutes. And then I'm going to test the dough and see if it's where I want it. If I was doing this with a mixer, it'd be a little easier to tell what I'm looking for, but mixing by hand, it's a little bit tougher. All I know is that I'm gonna get my workout today. Maybe no cardio, but still making me sweat. The dough is getting a little bit smoother, so I guess that's a good thing. And we want this to look as smooth as possible. When I touch this with my hand, I don't want this to stick to it, but we also want this to be, you know, pliable and it doesn't break too easily like this. But that's, you know what? Let's try this. Maybe I can get away with it this time. Yeah, let's get out from the bowl. I think it'll work out. I'm shifting the table a lot though, so that might be an issue. geez, my table's moving everywhere. I don't think I can do anything about that. Okay, let's try two-handed. Now I can actually feel this thing. Whew, it's a workout. Feels like it's getting smooth though. But we need to make sure this is as smooth as possible. See, it's bouncing back, which is a good sign. It means our gluten is forming, or has formed. If it wasn't bouncing back like this, like squish it. If it wasn't bouncing back, then we would have issues. But it may not be quite there yet. May not be quite there yet. Let's go 3 more minutes. There's a surefire way to test, but let's do 3 more minutes, then a test, and then hopefully it'll be done by then. This is the toughest part of the entire thing. This is why we got mixers. That's why mixers are so handy. I wish I could use a mixer on stream. Really. Nice and easy. Just roll, fold, roll, and fold. I think we're getting there. If it's not there already, we're pretty much there. Okay, let's give it a shot. So, gonna ball this dough up. It's kind of sort of there, I think. I think I added just enough liquid, but it looks like it's not very soft, but let's see. So what I want is this not to tear so easily when I do this, but we are not there yet apparently. The window test has not passed, sadly. which means I have to work on this a bit more. I wonder if there's a way to figure out that you've overdeveloped the gluten. How do you know it when you overdevelop gluten? Because right now, if I try to take a piece of this, it looks very rough. And if I try to stretch it, it doesn't stretch very far without breaking. And that's an issue. That's an issue. And I think I already added all the liquid I'm supposed to have added to this. So any more would be too much. It doesn't feel dry. It doesn't feel wet. I can work with this with my hand. But it's not quite there. It's breaking too easily. I want this to be as soft as a pillow, not hard as a rock, or as hard as whatever the heck this thing is becoming. Putty dough. Why do I decide to make the high difficulty things on stream? Why? Why? I may just take a middle of the road dough if this doesn't come together in the next 5 minutes, because it's ridiculous how long this is taking. Meanwhile, the rest of it's not going to be that difficult. Because after this, all we have to do is make the filling. And that shouldn't take too long, but it might not take the full hour. That's the only thing. In which case, we have to figure out what to do. I have to figure out what to do. I think it's bouncing back. That's a good thing. It's just not tearing properly. That's the only thing. I'm actually working up a sweat here, which is kind of funny. It is a good workout. Low intensity workout over a long period of time. I know people like to do that HIIT stuff, the high intensity interval training workouts, so that they don't have to work out for so long. But where's the low intensity stuff? Huh? If you have the time and you're just doing leisure, it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. Are we almost there? No idea. No idea. I would like to think so, because I would like this part to be over with. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see. Dough feels very tough. It's breaking apart, as you can see here. Probably not a good thing. Still not a good thing. It tears apart. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here. Maybe we need to add a little bit more moisture. Maybe let's add a little bit more moisture. That's going to be the downfall of what I'm doing right now, I feel like. Okay, just a teeny tiny bit. 1 tablespoon. One tablespoon of water. Here's hoping it'll actually be how I imagined it to be. Will have to wash my hands after this. I totally forgot the gloves. Don't need a whole lot. It's gummy. Oh yeah, I should have done the gloves. And the dough is coming apart right now. Need to fold this enough times so that it gets back together. And we're not taking it out of the bowl until it doesn't feel like sticky. It's extremely sticky, extremely heavy. Basically putting so much force that it's bending the bowl now. Oh my gosh. I'm sweating. This truly is a workout. That's so sticky. That's so sticky. Okay. Maybe we're getting to the point where this is actually okay to handle. I hope I don't regret moving this over. Okay, because we still need this space for later. We're not adding more water than that. I think that'd be too much. Need a more stable desk. One that doesn't slide all over the floors. And we're back to this. It's a little bit better, I think. It's not quite as tough. I'm hesitant to add more liquid though, because too much is definitely going to be a bad thing. But I do wonder if I didn't absorb too much water from all the mixing earlier. Because I want this to be like fluffy, but it's not. It wasn't getting there. It wasn't dry either, but I feel it rising. I see it coming back. Don't fall. Do not fall. Okay. Just trying to get rid of all the little doughy bits from my hands right now. We can roll that up into the big dough later. But I'm doing this so I don't have to like wash my hands in the middle. We can just roll it up and it'll be cooked later. My dead skin cells. My dead skin cells mixed with the dough. That sounds nasty, but that's basically what it is. Okay. It's a little better. It's a little better. If I try to pull this off, it's a little bit more elastic. It's a little bit harder to pull off. That's a good sign. And when I pull this, I'm trying to do the window test right now. The window test is more or less passing. So I can't really show the window test on screen because it's a little hard to do so. But basically what you want to do is pull a little bit of dough. Put a little bit of dough and stretch this thin as much as you can, and it shouldn't be breaking easily. That little tear there is probably okay, but it shouldn't be breaking easily. And once you put some light through the dough, it should be translucent. So you should see some light pass through. So I think we're mostly there. So I'm just gonna ball this up. The dough feels a bit on the dry side, not gonna lie. It could use maybe a little bit more liquid, but I think we are going to call that. Just gonna fold it a little bit more. And then we can get working on the other thing that we need to work on. The filling. The filling. Okay. Into the bowl, We'll check in 1 hour. Need to find something to cover that bowl. And we'll put 1 hour on the stream here so that we know how much time we got left on this thing. Because it's gonna be a while before we see it again. For sure. Okay. 1 hour. And I think it's this one. Start. Is it that one? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay. And you get a little bit of water. And then we'll move on with the rest of this stuff. Okay. Alright, so we have a few things we need to put together. Mainly it's just the dough. Not a whole lot of preparation that I have to do for the dough. Just a few things, hopefully shouldn't take too long. But first, before I do anything, I need to chop and grind a few things. I did want to add some nuts to the filling. So we have still some nuts over from the previous stream. We still have some nuts left over from the previous stream, and we're going to be using just a little bit, not too much, because we don't want this to be like overly nutty. That would be too nutty, too crazy, too nutty. So let's see, how much are we going to add then? So we have some almonds. We also have some cashews. I don't know if almonds are going to work too well in the filling, but we're going to add the little bit I have left. There's not a whole lot left. So, and there's also some sugar, which is going to help. Let's see, 4 pieces of almonds. Let's just use it all, because I don't have much left in here. 6 pieces of almonds, maybe 5, with some sugar. And this one's done. And then we got cashews here. And I'm gonna just take a small handful, because once we crush this, it's gonna be a lot. And we don't want too much. Don't want too much. All right. Where is the thing I'm gonna use to crush with? Okay. Crushing time. Let's see, what music is playing right now in Asia Dream Radio? I can't read this. Shireto? Featuring Miko by Koba Solo. It sounds like an anime opening. Can't figure out which anime though. Okay. Okay, it should be crushed enough. It's a little hard to see from that distance, but kind of looks like this. Crushed nuts, cashews and almonds with some sugar in there. We're going to use that as part of the filling. Got a few more things we need to use that knife with. Actually, yeah, just 2 more things. Alright, let's get the cutting board in view here. And before we start cutting, it's been a while since I tried sharpening this thing. I'm not going to do like a full sharpening, but we need to at least hone the knife. So, I forgot how I needed to do this. So we got a little honing stick here. It's anything but little. And it's probably better for other knives rather than this, but oh well. Let's see if it works. Okay, let's see if that did anything. I need to find a piece of paper. Paper test. Paper test. There's some paper I can use. Well, not much paper in this place anymore. But I do have some note cards for whatever reason, so let's see if this works. Ooh! Nice. Didn't cut all the way through because my angle was bad, but it looks like that should do it. That should do it. I'm just going to do a couple more swipes just for insurance. What new heresy are we coming up with? Welcome, Crow. Snow Crow. We are making some meatless Nikumon, or I guess more accurately, this is going to be a Filipino style Chinese bao, except it's going to be meatless. I mean, I don't think that's too unusual. People have done that before, but the particular thing we're going to be using for this is going to be a little bit different. You could probably say I'm cutting corners with the ingredient, but it's what I have on hand. So do forgive me for that, please. Do forgive me for that. Right now, though, we're just prepping some ingredients before we get to the main thing. So the dough has already been made. The timer up on the upper left is the amount of time left before the dough should be done. So it hasn't even been 10 minutes yet since we set the dough aside, so it's going to take a little while. It took us a while to get the dough ready. So we have some parsley here, we have some cilantro. We're going to add some cilantro to our filling. We also had some some crushed nuts, so that's crushed already. So we have some cilantro, we'll get some other stuff, but I'm just gonna coarsely chop this. I don't think this needs to be like fine, though some people would like it fine. By the way, these cilantro is like fresh from the indoor garden that I'm doing. It's the only thing I've managed to grow so far. I'm trying basil. It hasn't quite grown yet. I tried tomatoes. One has died. 2 are struggling. So, you know, when it gets there, it'll get there. I'm hoping. But let's see. What else am I growing? Bok choy. I'm also trying to grow some water spinach. So hopefully those come out well. How has my weekend been? It has been, so I worked yesterday. Did my chores, and then absolutely nothing. I passed out. I got some takeout fried flounder and all the fried stuff because that's the only thing I can take out that sounded okay-ish, and I wanted to try something from this new place. And it was absolutely mid. It wasn't terrible, but it was bordering on terrible. It was not great at all. At all. I got onion rings, I got coleslaw, I got some hush puppies, fries, and the fried flounder. The fries were not good. They were not starchy. They tasted like plywood, I guess is the best description I can think of. Imagine fries tasting like plywood. That was not great. The onion rings was also not great. They were pretty much like just baked. Not baked, but their breading was very subpar. It was crunchy, but there was like, I don't know, it's very difficult to describe. It just wasn't good. The hush puppies may have been better off as ammo for a grenade launcher. That's how tough they were. Grenade launcher, hush puppies, and the fish by itself was not great. I had to use a lot of vinegar. I'm a vinegar person when it comes to my fish. Fried fish in any case. But the fried fish had to use a lot of vinegar to even get passing. So suffice to say, I'm not ordering anything from this place again. But it was worth it. It was worth a try for the $5 I paid for it. So I guess I can't complain too much. But yeah, that was my weekend so far, other than the stream today. So how was everyone else's weekend? So how was everyone else's weekend? I hope it's at least a little bit better than that. I mean, if that's the worst that happens, I'll take it. Worse can always happen. But I'm just pretty thankful that nothing else has happened other than the bad fish and chips, I guess. I call it fish and chips, but it's not like UK style fish and chips, but may as well be. Okay, wow, you were fed ammunition for takeout. No wonder you were knocked out. Oh yeah, I was knocked out I think for at least 2 hours, which is amazing. Amazingly knocked out for 2 hours. Okay, so we have half a head of garlic. The recipe that I'm going to be linking later in the description has you use like 3 cloves. I'm like, no. If we're using garlic, we're using 1 head or half a head. If you're telling me 3 cloves, I am using half a head of garlic. So never be stingy with your garlic. Ever be stingy with your garlic. I don't understand. Is 3 cloves of garlic actually going to make a difference? I don't think it's going to make a difference. You got to use more than that. We have like 5 giant cloves of garlic. 1 mini clove of garlic. That's still 5. And 6. I guess 6. So I guess 3 cloves would be 1/4 of a garlic. I'm trying to save my garlic for stuff. Okay, this one needs a little chopping. Okay, so I think for this I just want it to be coarsely chopped. How much time do we have left? 46 minutes. Plenty of time to make our filling. Actually, way more than enough time to make our filling. But yeah, other than the weekend though, I'm kind of hyped for NeuroCloud to come out tomorrow.
So for anyone who's in the Girls Frontline fandom or hasn't heard of NeuroCloud, or has heard of NeuroCloud, it is another mobile game, yes, but if you're a Girls Frontline fan, this is something you probably should be checking out. You know, just to check out because you're a fan of that thing. And the pre-download came out earlier today. So I got that pre-downloaded onto the emulator as well as my phone. And I didn't realize how early the game was going to launch tomorrow. So because of that, and because I'm also off tomorrow, I will be doing an early stream tomorrow for NeuroCloud. We're going to be doing an early stream for NeuroCloud around maybe 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, because I want to get on that as quick as possible. And if I feel like streaming again that evening, I probably will. We'll see though. We'll see what kind of system it uses. I haven't checked any beta testing information yet. I don't know if it uses a stamina system. I don't know if it uses something else. I hope it's not a stamina system. I hope it's a no stamina system. Because, you know, if you have to do a stamina system, well, either way, you have to get far enough into the story to unlock some things, and I want to unlock all the things so I can grind off stream. Because depending on how good it is, we may make it a regular thing until we run out of stuff to do in it. So yeah. It's been pretty okay weekend trying to finish Arknight's event, waiting on resources in Girls Frontline. Yeah, the resources in Girls Frontline, especially when you're first starting out, is kind of rough. I finished the event, I want to say last week. Well, yeah, I finished the event last week, rescued all the new T-dolls that came out. So, yeah, that was done. And then I know there was like some sort of ranking point that you could do. I did not do that. Don't have time to grind the ranking map, so I didn't do that this time around. And that's why we didn't have a stream for the ranking map, because I don't feel like doing that. I'm just in it for the main story now. Being being a veteran player does that to you sometimes. So I'm just waiting on NeuroCloud now and enjoying Nikkei and off stream. So yeah, okay, we got the garlic, we got the cilantro. I think that's all I have to chop. We do have a few other ingredients we're going to be using for the filling. So here's the stuff I didn't show you earlier. So I have some pre-chopped onions. I chopped this ahead of time when I got like a bag of onions a few weeks ago. And I just decided, we'll use some onions for this one because it's also part of the recipe. It's a little frozen, so I'm hoping that's not going to splatter too much. That's going to be bad. And the main meat that's not meat that we're going to be using for this for filling is this. Impossible sausage meat, I guess you can call it that if you want to. Ideally, this is not what I would be using. I only have this because it was on sale, 50% off. So it's like it makes it the same price as it makes it around the same price as real meat once it's 50% off, which is, when you think about it, full price is ridiculously expensive. But this is not bad to eat once in a while, just because it is lighter than, you know, your typical meat. It's also softer if you're into that. I have been using this for my pizzas that I've been making off stream just because I ran out of meat, and this actually does not make a bad pizza topping. So yeah, we're gonna be using the entire thing. The recipe calls for 1 pound. We have 14 ounces here. That's about almost 400 grams. Very girthy, yes. It's a girthy piece of fake meat. It's actually not bad. Surprisingly not bad. But that is all the prep that we need to do for the, for the filling. So I'm going to set this aside. And let's go ahead and get the pan out. I should have heated this earlier, to be honest, but that would have added way too much heat into this room, so I did not do that. Oh, didn't know they were making that from Impossible Meat now. They make a bunch of I say they make a bunch of stuff, but if you think about it, that's basically just the burger meat, right? The burger meat patty, not formed yet. So, it's more or less the same thing. Okay, so we have our pan here. I am using our handy dandy Zojiroshi hot pot pan because that's all I have. And we are setting it to about medium. I want to call medium about 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Should have done this earlier. So now we're waiting for this to heat up. And then once we actually get this all done, it'll be quick. I feel like it'll be quick. I do have a recipe card for all the ingredients we'll be using. Here's a quick preview of what you're going to see in the description later, as well as a link for the recipe that I'm using. We're going to use some oil. We have onion, we got garlic, we got our fake ground meat, 2 cups of water, so I have water here, soy sauce. For the soy sauce, we are going to be using a classic Filipino soy sauce, Marca Piña. Marca Piña. I think most people know of Silver Swan. If you know about Silver Swan and haven't tried Marca Piña is the darker soy sauce of the Silver Swan. They're not the same brand, by the way, but this is the soy sauce I used growing up, and this is the soy sauce I will die on a hill for. I tried Silver Swan before. It tastes a little bit too light. It tastes too light. So this is what I'm going to be using. It's darker, it's richer, so we're going to be using that. You can use whatever soy sauce you want. Kikkoman would also be good. It's a light soy sauce. Easy to mix into stuff, so you can also use that. But we'll be using a dark one. And let's see. We're also going to be using some... It says star anise in the recipe, but I don't have any star anise. I do, however, have a tiny, tiny little bit of 5 spice left over, so I'm going to be using whatever 5 spice I have left. If you know 5 spice, I'm just taking a whiff. So the 5 spice is 5 spices: star anise, licorice, cinnamon, and 2 other things I can't remember. But it is very fragrant. A little goes a very long way. So I may not actually use all of this, but I'm gonna be using enough. But that is a very strong flavoring. Use with caution. Use with caution. And cornstarch, apparently. I'm not sure where the cornstarch is going. Maybe I should have mixed that with the meat, the fake meat. Do I have to get another bowl? I think I have to get another bowl. Surprisingly, there's no oyster sauce on the recipe card, which is what you need to typically make this particular, what do you call this? This particular filling. So we're gonna figure this out. I may not even use the cornstarch. I think the cornstarch just to make the filling a little bit thicker, so that when you put it into the dough, it's not going to like run all over the place. So actually, be right back. I'm gonna get a separate bowl really quick. I was gonna say how it matches up to Kikkoman. You find it everywhere. Yeah, Kikkoman is pretty good. Actually, I like Kikkoman as a soy sauce. But if the thing with Kikkoman, the thing with different soy sauces is there's like light soy sauce, dark soy sauce. I think the heaviest soy sauce I've ever used is like a mushroom soy sauce, and you don't need a whole lot of that to go a long way. Like 1 teaspoon of a mushroom soy sauce is probably equal to like maybe 5 of a Kikkoman. So it's there to use as little liquid to like reduce the amount of liquid that you're going to use in a recipe without bloating up the the amount of volume, the liquid volume in the recipe. It's just without, like, if you don't want to use salt, but you need extra flavor other than just salty. The heavy soy sauces are there for that. That's what they are for. But if you don't need a whole lot of if you don't need a whole lot of saltiness, if you don't need a whole lot of saltiness or other flavors from that soy sauce would give you, you use a lighter soy sauce. That's what it's for. It's kind of like water and salt mixed together. But anyway, be right back. I'm gonna come back with a bowl to mix the fake meat and cornstarch with. Okay. Okay. All right. Set this aside for now. That's gonna keep heating. And we're gonna be competing with space here. Gloves go on. Okay. This visible? Okay, should be. I'm just gonna open this. It's gonna maybe look a little off-putting, but this is what happens when you use fake meat. It kind of looks like real meat, actually. Let's just get this out really quick. It actually kind of looks like real meat if you look at it a little close. Except it doesn't have the texture of like coming from a grinder. It's a lot softer, especially at room temperature. But otherwise, it looks more or less like real meat. It just doesn't have the characteristics. I was trying to look for the word. Characteristics of what real ground meat looks like. And we are having issues with the... go in. There we go. We're having a little issues with the pan right now. Yeah, I made the same mistake with mushroom soy sauce. The rice was pretty much black after that. Oh yeah. I've only had mushroom soy sauce once, and I couldn't find it again. Which I'm a little bit bummed about. Okay, so I need cornstarch. Where's my cornstarch? Okay, I'm just gonna eyeball one... No, we need a measuring spoon for this. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Okay, that's roughly 1 tablespoon, including the spill. So, alright. That's a lot less than I thought it would be. Okay, so there is that. What else am I missing? Where's my card? So we have the... I'm gonna go ahead and mix the parsley in here. This is probably the best place to mix the parsley in. So that goes in, not parsley, cilantro. I keep on mixing them out. They look the same. So cilantro goes in there. The cilantro is not part of this recipe, but I had some extra, so I may as well use it. Garlic is gonna go separate. No, garlic's gonna get mixed in here. Let's see, how is this gonna work? Nope, garlic's gonna get mixed in here. Let's put the garlic in. This is probably not what the recipe says that I got it from. I'm probably supposed to be cooking the garlic separately, but oh well. Oh well, this is it now. We're gonna do the soy sauce later. let's go ahead and put the 5 spice. A little bit of decent amount of 5 spice. There we go. Be very careful with that, it's very strong. See, 5 spice, meat, garlic, onion. Let's see, I think the onion, I want to say the onion can be mixed in, but the onion probably has to be cooked separately, so I'm going to leave the onion out of this. It's still impressive how far meat alternatives have come. You know what? I mean, there's always been meat alternatives as far as Asia is concerned that uses soybeans, but apparently, not a lot of people can eat the soybeans, but they do so much different stuff. They got tempeh, they got I think tempeh is the most famous example that you can use with soybeans other than tofu. And they, for some reason or another, just have not had that much development with that in the West. But in Asia, it's like a very staple thing, right? But I do have to give it to them to be able to use other stuff other than soybeans. I think the protein, the thing they're using these days is like pea protein, which actually works very, very well. If you think about how peas are, that works very, very well. So yeah. Soy sauce, water, sugar, anise, cornstarch. Oh, that's 2 things so I'm supposed to do the meat separately and then the sauce separately. Oh, well, never mind. I'm probably gonna have to have a separate bowl later for the sauce. Okay, well, whatever. Oh my gosh, they did not label it very well in the thing, so I was a little confused. But you know, it could still probably work. Anyway, that's mixed. That is mixed. It doesn't, I will say though, because it's not real meat, it doesn't like hold its shape very well. And like, you know, you can mold ground meat and it holds pretty well. This, it sticks together, but once you try to pull it apart, it just comes out in whatever lump you tried to pull it out in, which is hit or miss. More miss usually than hit, but what can you do? I need to get another bowl though. I need to get the bowl for the meat. Just a sec, again. Bowl for meat. So we need a bowl for the meat, and also when we make the sauce, we're gonna make it in that same pan. So that should work out. It should work out. There are no mistakes, just happy little accidents. I suppose. I suppose Bob Ross does have a point. It'll work out. It'll work out. Okay, let's put this aside because we're gonna be working with a pan now. Oh, I should probably just move the camera this way. Be easier. Okay. Okay, I wonder if I even need oil for this. Oh, this is a new thing of sesame oil. That's why it does not pour. Please don't spill. Ah, don't spill. Don't spill. You're too precious for that. Okay. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Okay, first things first. If I did not miss anything else. Oil, onion, just a little bit of onion. I don't think I want to use too much. I probably should have minced the onion a little bit more, but the thing is, this onion was supposed to be used in a stew anyway. This frozen onion was supposed to be used in a stew. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of stew onion out. Hopefully it's not too big. If it's too big, oh well. Literally just oh well. Just want to cook this down a little bit more before we add in the meat. And it should be pretty quick, because we did a lot of prep already. Okay, higher temp, let's go. The joys of cooking on stream, especially if you don't have it all planned from the start. It's like I have all the ingredients I need from the start, but not everything else. Got a mask nearby? I'm not gonna need it. I'm not gonna need it. We don't need a mask for this. I don't remember if this is sweet onion or yellow onion, but if it's sweet onion, I don't have to worry too much. If it's yellow onion, oh well. Oh well, literally just oh well. I'm gonna get 2 cups of water out ready for when we make the sauce. Why did I decide to do this stream? There's just so much stuff in my room. I'm gonna have to like clean the sheets later. Oh well. As I mentioned earlier, this is like maybe my second time making this. The first time was an absolute disaster. Hopefully this is not going to be as big a disaster. I am hoping. I am absolutely hoping. I may have not brought enough water for the boiling part. Oh well, we'll figure that out once we get there. Basically just turned up the heat right now. Otherwise, we're not going to burn through all the water. So maximum heat. Let's go ahead and put that in. This giant, massive whatever. Now we gotta be quick. Gotta be quick and break this up. Because if we let it stay, it's going to be like in giant patties, and we do not want that for the filling. I can smell the 5 spice coming through though. It's a nice smell. It's very aromatic. Just gonna keep doing it like this so that it doesn't stick together. And we can actually have like little ground meats that we can use for the filling. Because ideally, when you do a filling for a meat bun, at least if you're using ground meat, right? If you're using ground meat, it's not solid. I know there's like a version of the meat bun where it's just like a giant meat ball inside. I'm not actually a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the giant meatballs in the inside. I like it to be more chopped up, full, saucy. That's my ideal meat bun, not the meatballs. So we're doing it like that. So I'm gonna keep doing this until I'm sure this is cooked thoroughly and solid. I'm getting a hand cramp. That's not a good thing. It is supposed to be called filling. Well, I mean, the filling could be any number of styles. The filling could be any number of styles. It's just, you know, the one I see the most the one I see the most, if it's not a pork barbecue filling is good. But if you just say pork ball, that's to me not great. Pork barbecue is good, not just a pork ball. And usually whenever I see the ones I've seen before is like pork ball, or because if they do start doing balls just for the filling, I'd rather do chicken than pork. Chicken is softer, and I like it when they add the shiitake mushrooms and maybe a slice of egg, because that's pretty good. But ideally, it's more like ground, like little cooked pieces of ground meat, and completely stuffed in there. Basically, I want this to be the consistency of good fried rice. That's the best way I can describe it. Not mushy fried rice like I usually do, but good fried rice where all the grains are separate. That kind of feeling. That's what I'm trying to go for. As much as you can go for with a meat type. Oh wow, that 5 spice is definitely coming through. I think we're almost there. If we're not there, we're almost there. Just keep in mind, whenever you're doing this, if you ever decide to make filling yourself, do not, absolutely do not use a metal utensil for your pan. Use either wood or plastic. But if you're using like high heat, maybe wood would be better. You don't want to use plastic. That's why we got this going on. I actually don't have any metal metal cooking utensils, so wood is just more versatile. Though I do have a few plastic stuff for spoons, for soup and stuff. These meats tend to cook a bit faster than actual meats too. Does it? A little bit, I guess. I know for sure. I know for sure these meats don't get as solid as actual meat. So that's the thing I'm having trouble right now. Is it done? It looks done. It looks done. But it doesn't feel as solid as actual meat, though it does separate nicely. So maybe we're actually done with this. Maybe we're actually done with this. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes just to make sure. But I think we might actually be done with this. Because with real meat, you know, the protein hardens, right? The protein hardens with real meat. And you know when it's actually done. With this, the color changes a little bit, not a whole lot. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it done for now because we're gonna mix this in with the sauce that we're going to be making here in a second. So I'm gonna set that aside to a bowl. Off camera. Let that cool down a little bit. Okay. So now we're gonna add a little bit of water in here. How much soy sauce do I need? 1/3 cup of soy sauce. Okay. So actually I'm going to add some more cornstarch. The cornstarch is supposed to be for the sauce. We are in high temperature. We're in high temperature. I'm adding cornstarch to the extra water I did not put in here. And if I can find my chopsticks. Where did my chopsticks go? Ah, it was hiding. That's why. So a little cornstarch, because we're going to mix that together. And with this one, so the thing says 1/3 cup of soy sauce. I think I'm going to add that much. We're going to mix soy sauce, cornstarch, going to get mixed anyway. 1/3 cup of soy sauce. A darker soy sauce sounds like a lot to me even. So we'll just see how this works and do a quick taste test afterwards. But we're going to mix that in. So this is going to be our sauce. And we have little bits of meat pieces from when we made the meat filling, but that's okay. It's gonna go back in here. Right now we just want to mix this, reduce it until it's thick enough, and then we're going to mix the two together. But let me just show you really quick. The quality of our meat filling. Looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good. It's got some nice char in there, a lot of stuff in it. It just needs some sauce to cover it. So that's what we are going to do. We just need this to reduce though. And we will reduce it within the 10-11 minutes we got left for the dough, hopefully. So yeah, we're just chilling now. I'm also going to add a little bit of oyster sauce to this for extra flavor. It's probably unnecessary. It might actually make it a little bit too salty. But we're going to add some oyster sauce. Not sure how much. And if I can even open the door. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, maybe that's enough. Oh, not bad. Oh, that's very salty. It's very salty. I may have made a mistake. But we're just going to Mix all that, reduce. I don't know how much I need to reduce this. Probably half. Probably half. Okay, I guess we got time to talk now. We got 10 minutes. So, for anyone in NA, or at least the US, I think Canada already had theirs. In Canada, you have already had your Thanksgiving, I think maybe last month even. In the US, the Thanksgiving thing is coming up this Thursday, which also means it's almost time for Black Friday and Black Friday sales on Steam. I'm kind of curious. I'm hoping some of the things I wish listed is gonna go on sale. So, yeah. That PV that I've been getting for NeuroCloud ads was actually 2 years old. Oh, the PV for NeuroClouds. I haven't actually been watching the PVs for NeuroCloud. Like I said, I've been mainly getting Genshin stuff for whatever reason, but NeuroCloud stuff hasn't really. I've seen a few, at least on Twitter, but not on YouTube, which is surprising. Let's lower the heat down a little bit. It's getting a little bit too bubbly. But yeah, I looked at a few videos on NeuroCloud, but nothing really on the gameplay that I could see. It looks a little weird to me. I think it's supposed to be an auto chess, right? Kind of like Super Auto Pets. If you haven't played Super Auto Pets before, it's fun. I haven't played it recently because holy crap, it's been extremely tough and sweaty. But it's still fun whenever I can find the time to do it. Oh, I think I need to add sugar to this too. I need to add some sugar. That's part of the recipe actually. And I'm supposed to be adding 3 tablespoons of sugar, so let's go 3 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2, hopefully the sugar also thickens this up a little bit. 3, there we go. Let's candy this thing a little bit, hopefully. Okay. But yeah, I think NeuroCloud will be fun. I'm just trying. So apparently what NeuroCloud, what's happening in NeuroCloud, if I'm not mistaken, Girls Frontline lore-wise, it is not after the game. It is actually during the game. During the Girls Frontline main story. So I'm curious when this actually happens, because Mika, the devs for Girls Frontline, likes to basically have everything like be cohesive as far as their storyline, because the story is the main meat of Girls Frontline. So I'm curious how that's gonna work out. Let's see, how does it taste? Salty. Salty. It needs a little extra sugar. I think the oyster sauce killed whatever I was trying to do. Okay, we're just gonna add 2 more tablespoons of sugar. Oh, that wasn't even tablespoons I was adding earlier. It was half a tablespoon. No wonder it wasn't a lot. So now we have, I think, 2 tablespoons worth of sugar. We may add 1 more because it was asking for 3 in the recipe. But let's mix it a little bit and see what we get from there. You should check it out. Sure beats the heck out of the generic outsourced game ads. I should if I run into it, or maybe it's actually on YouTube. Yeah, I'll probably check it out, because a lot of game ads tend to be fan servicey, at least really off from what the actual gameplay is going to be like. And then there's Genshin. There's Genshin, if you've seen those ads. It's like gameplay, story, and tragedy, from what I could tell. One more tablespoon of sugar. Now I'll add 2 more tablespoons. It might be on the sweet side, but I think it'll be okay. It is getting thicker now though, so that's a good thing. 1, 2, all right. I am gonna have to clean up so much after this stream. But I wish I could cook in the kitchen, not in my bedroom. The kitchen is so far away. Kitchen is so far away. It's so far away from all the equipment I need, so it's a little difficult. Oh well. Oh well. I am curious though how the T-dolls that we know in NeuroCloud, how they're going to be referenced, if they're going to reference at all the original Girls Frontline, because that would be, what do you call this? That would be interesting to see if they reference much at all. I think it's there. I think it's there. In terms of sweetness, it's pretty much almost there. Oh yeah, I think this sauce is good. You just need to simmer it down a lot more so it's thick. But I think what I'm gonna do is sprinkle a little bit of this into the meat. That way it's coated a little bit. And then we'll reserve the rest of this for dipping, because usually the siopao has a separate sauce on the side. Oh. It is, and they're as strange as you expect. Yeah, the ads. I haven't seen any Nikkei ads, surprisingly. Or maybe whenever I did see them, I kind of like just look away because I'm already playing it and I don't want to see how cringy it actually is. Because you know that they're gonna be super cringy. Okay, I'm looking at the dough right now. It has been almost an hour, and I don't think it has increased in size at all. The pitfalls of mixing by hand is that things don't work out the way you think it should work out. And it's not... Okay, I'm gonna set this aside. I think it's done. Set that aside. We're gonna keep the heat to high. Okay. But if you look at this, the dough, I don't think increased that much from earlier. Maybe like increased by 1.5. Maybe increased by 50% from earlier, but not the double that we were looking for. So that is going to be an issue, I feel like. Okay, let's set this one aside. So here is the meat. And I'm going to add a little bit of the sauce in there, mix it up a little bit. And this should get the juices started once, just a little bit, because we don't want this to be soaked, because if it's soaked and that gets on the dough, too soaked, it's not going to, the dough's going to be a little too soft, you know? Surprisingly, they're not just so cringy. They're just a quick showcase of the characters over like 5 seconds. I mean, I guess it's hard to sell. It's hard to sell mobile games unless you already know about them. So I sympathize, but at least on the West, it's hard to sell them. I feel like in Asia it's not as hard, but they are as cringy. I've seen a Filipino ad for Genshin, not Genshin, Tower of Fantasy. I've seen a Filipino ad for Tower of Fantasy. And holy crap, that was so cringy. That was so cringy. I don't know how the people that did the ad kept a straight face. It was so bad. It was so bad. Okay, I think that's seasoned enough. Yeah, I just want it to be lightly sauced because we're gonna put this into the dough. All right. Okay, I'm just gonna set that aside. The filling itself tastes good, so that's a plus. Okay, so what I need to do right now is make sure nothing spills. Number one, make sure nothing spills. Set the sauce aside. Hopefully it doesn't burn on the floor. I got way too much stuff for this tiny space. And the dough. Here's the dough. It's not very big. It's also not very fluffy. But we will work with this with however we can work with it. After I watched a series of Arknights, I could imagine how bad they were, the Arknights ads. I saw one Arknights ads, and I think it went along the lines of, are you still looking for that? Are you still looking for that game that you could keep playing? Anime style and all that stuff. Like, do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who you're talking to? I guess they're targeting casuals whenever they make those ads, because holy crap. A person of culture or of the internet knows how cringy that is, but for a casual, they might not think twice about it. And I need to find my rolling pin. Where the heck did my rolling pin go? I did not bring it. I did not bring the rolling pin. I am never making this on stream again. Holy crap, there's just so much. There's just so much stuff. There's just so much stuff to keep track of here. Okay, so we are going to be making 4 pieces of bao with this much dough. It looks like a lot of dough for 4 pieces, but I think it's appropriate. Oh my gosh, that is so thick. This dough is so bad. This dough is so bad. It wouldn't be this bad if I actually used a mixer. But we got what we got. We got what we got. Okay. Ball it up. Ball it up. I'm super curious how this is going to come out. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. If I make this again, it'll be off stream. Trying to figure out where the heck did I go wrong. Where I went wrong was using my hands. That's where I went wrong. Okay. Just trying to even up the dough sizes right now. And this one should be okay. This one might go here. I think that's roughly okay. So what we want to do is flatten this. We want to flatten it all first. If this was still moist and not dry, it will be a lot easier to work with, because what that does for us is allows us to seal the dough once the filling is on here. But since we don't have that, I'm gonna be in trouble. like literally in trouble. Hey Ollie, welcome. How's it going? The cooking is gonna be. That cooking today is gonna be horrendous. This dough is actually crap. I'll tell you why. So the dough, it's been 1 hour since since it was like proofing, and it did not double. The dough is tough as heck. It breaks apart really easily when I pull on it. That is not good dough, but this is dough that we will be working with because I can't take 2 hours just to proof dough for the stream. We don't have that kind of time on stream. Imagine me doing a cooking endurance stream. Like, cooking endurance will happen if you do dough. Or if you make ramen. That is a cooking endurance stream. And I don't have a lot to say. That is my biggest flaw as a streamer. I don't have a lot to say about various things unless you guys come up with stuff that we can talk about. I admit that fault. Not enough yeast? No, I used enough yeast. I think it was moisture. It's either not enough moisture or the way I kneaded the dough knocked off too much moisture from the mix. And basically, this feels like maybe 40% hydration, which is not great. I think I think we want like some sort of, I want to say maybe closer to 60% hydration on these things, but this feels drier than that. You can still work with it, but it's gonna be tough as heck. So that's the biggest issue. But we're gonna make 4 buns, and we'll hope for the best. How long have you been cooking? And tell us the worst thing you have ever made. Cooking. I have been cooking. So you know what? Growing up, there are some kids who never learn how to cook from their parents. I was one of them. Not because my parents never taught me how to cook. It's because I was a lazy piece of crap growing up at home. So my mom did all the cooking, and thankfully she was a good cook. She was a good home cook. She doesn't think so, but she's actually a really good home cook. And I don't think she doesn't have as much techniques as I do right now. But she knows her basics, and she knows how to cook. Though sometimes that was before. These days she's more into like health food, so that threw off her cooking groove a little bit, and it's weird now. But I never did learn how to cook directly from her. Though whenever I did try, it was bad. It was bad. I think the worst thing I made at home was I made a soup that could have a little spice in it. Like you would probably add a few Thai chili peppers into it, and it would be good. What I did was add five whole habanero peppers, and I cut them. If you know how hot a habanero pepper is, 1 is hot enough. You add 5 to a soup, and you cut all 5 into a soup. That's gonna go all the way into the soup. It's gonna be super spicy, super bad. And once I ate it, it was the spiciest thing I've ever made. It was very, very hard to eat, and I was foolish enough to try to eat as much of it as possible, and basically screwed over my stomach like permanently. I'm not even joking. I screwed over my stomach permanently. I could not take as much spice as I used to after that. Basically ruined my stomach, probably because of how spicy it was. It was that bad. It was that bad. So that was before I went into college, right? Or maybe that was even during college. When I went, let's see, when I went to grad school, I was basically just by myself, right? So that's where I started to learn cooking seriously. It was bad. It started off bad. And eventually, over the years, I just got better, experimenting, doing things over and over again. And that's basically where we are now. We're up to the point where we can actually make substitutions to ingredients and recipes that no one else would be brave enough to make substitutions and recipes for. So yeah. Let's see. Does she know the secrets of pineapple? She does not. She does not know the secrets of pineapple. There is a recipe called adobo that normally you use soy sauce and vinegar in. You can actually use pineapple juice for that instead. There's a sweet version that uses pineapple juice. I have tried it. I don't like it. It's too sweet. I like it more sour. Yeah, it was a very hot pot of soup. It was not. I do not recommend doing that unless you're a spice head. Maybe you could do it, but liquid spice is definitely a lot more caustic to the stomach than a powder. So just be careful. Don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Don't ruin yourself for the rest of your life, because I think I'm still paying for it to this day. And that was years and years ago. Okay, I think this is thin enough. It is very thick though. The dough is very thick. Not as thin as I want it to be. But we need a little bit of thickness, otherwise the filling's gonna go through, because the filling is a little bit wet. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start boiling some water on the side. That's where we're going to put the steamer on. We're gonna steam this. I hope I have enough water. If I don't, I'm gonna have to get some more. I may not have enough water, but we will hopefully. Let's see. Okay. Reaching for water. You're not gonna see it because it's the camera's on the side, but okay, that should be enough water. I basically just need enough water to steam with. And I do have a bamboo steamer here. The question is though, is it going to be, do I need two racks or one rack? We will find out. We will find out. Bro, even if they were a spice head, that would convert some of them. You think so? How hot is one habanero? Curious. I don't know the Scoville units off the top of my head, but how hot is one habanero? Because I want to know how hot 5 habaneros are. That would give me an idea on how hot it is and how hot that compares to a Carolina Reaper, which is I think currently the hottest pepper at the moment. Gonna flatten this a bit more because I'm not convinced how flat these are. But we need a lot of dough. I think supposedly the dough I have is good for 5, but we're making 4. Just to make sure we have that extra skin to cover this. Okay, should be good. Let's go ahead with the filling. I think it's supposed to be 1 tablespoon of filling to each one of these, but let's see what 1 tablespoon looks like. 1 tablespoon doesn't sound like a whole lot. Maybe we can do 2. Habanero chili peppers are hot, rated 100 to 350 on the Scoville scale. So I don't know if they're cumulative or not. I did 5, so that's like 500 to 1.5 million. I think a Reaper is 2 or 3 million. Orange habanero is like fourth, so yeah, very painful. Yeah, I think a Reaper is like 2 or 3 million in comparison. So not as hot as a Reaper combined, but still pretty bad. Okay, this is 1 tablespoon. I think we're gonna go for 2 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon doesn't look like a whole lot, so we're gonna stuff that. Two tablespoons worth of filling, and bring this up. You know what? We can actually probably go for 3 tablespoons. And with each one of these, we're gonna need some wax paper. So that way they don't stick to the bottom of the steamer. I think for the longest time I didn't know how to use wax paper. Wax paper was that thing I thought you could actually use in the oven. And this is what you would bake cookies on. Apparently I was wrong. Apparently I was wrong. I didn't know that for the longest time. Apparently wax paper is meant to wrap meat and be used as like padding for these kinds of things. So, yep, lesson learned. Lesson learned. And this is a very, very scuffed bow top, but that's bow number 1. And we'll just keep going like this. The water is still boiling. It is on maximum boil. So, well, the water's still heating, I should say. Okay, and then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons on each one of these. I'm probably gonna have some extra meat left over. That is fine, because the extra meat is going to be used for my ramen, my breakfast ramen. So, I don't know the proper way, to be honest, to wrap this. I think it's something like this, and it would be better if the dough actually was sticky, but it's not. So I'm hoping this holds up in the steamer, because if it doesn't, we're gonna have a huge mess later. But that's number 2. But now that I've actually done this, even on stream, I can appreciate now the amount of time it takes to make these. Like, I always like getting these from the Chinese grocery stores or Chinese bakeries, just because, you know, it's what I ate growing up as a snack, and it's really, really nice. Especially a well-made one is really, really nice. So just knowing how this is made is good. It's good. It's a good experience. You don't have to do it, but if I do recommend trying it once, because it is kind of fun. And if you want to, you can also start like making, what do you call this? Adding stuff to this that you don't normally see in a steam bun. Ideally, though, this top will be closed a bit more, but that's as close as I can get with how dry this thing is. I could add a little bit of water, but I don't want to risk it. We've come this far. I don't want to risk it. That's 1. This is 2. And I think that's all the meat we'll use. And we still have quite a bit left, so I'm going to be using this for breakfast for the next few days. Looks like you'll be sticking to store-bought for this one or special occasions. Yeah, I think so. Well, the thing is, like I mentioned earlier, we did the dough by hand, the mixing of the dough by hand. I'm gonna try doing it with an actual mixer and see if there's a difference with that. But even if it did work out with the mixer, I think I still would do a store-bought on this one, just because. Holy crap, it takes a long time. Not only do you have to make the dough, you also have to make the filling separately, filling separately, and the sauce separately, if you are doing a sauce version. And just because of that's quite a bit. quite a bit of work. Unlike a pizza, where pizza is a lot easier to put together. You just make the dough. You can make a lot of dough, and it's pretty easy to do. And then for the toppings are also pretty easy to put on. You don't have to cook them beforehand. They all cook in the oven. This one, you have to pre-cook the filling. You cannot cook the filling with the dough. It just does not work that way. Because the cook time for this is 15 to 20 minutes in the steamer. We're gonna go on the higher end. We'll go for 20 minutes just to make sure it's actually formed. Yeah, we'll go for 20 minutes just to make sure it's actually formed. And we'll go for I think 16 minutes because you have to wait another 3 to 5 just to make sure this doesn't deflate. So we'll go for 15 minutes and then we'll wait for 5. Like, I'm gonna turn off the heat at 15 and we'll wait 5 more minutes. Okay. Cutting off the excess. So now we have one layer of buns to work with. This one is open. I don't think I can close that too much. I'm gonna try, and it's gonna be a disaster. My only worry at this point, and this has happened to me before, that this thing is gonna open up. These buns are gonna open up while they're cooking, while they're steaming, and everything in the inside is gonna spill out. The only good thing is the filling is not very saucy. If it was saucier, it would be a bigger issue. But since it's not, hopefully not as big of an issue, but it will still open up. So it might still open up. Okay, we got the water here. It's going. We're putting this on. We got that. We got the top. Okay, we're gonna leave that for 15 minutes, and I am gonna go to the desk for now. 15 minutes timer. Let's go. 15 minutes timer. All right, coming over to the desk. Let's figure out what to do for the next 15 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Camera is gonna be okay, let's move this for now. Hopefully it doesn't run out of batteries too soon. But we have we have a meatless meat bun. And I totally forgot to add the nuts. We can add the nuts later. The nuts can be added in the sauce. So technically still fulfilling the N requirements, the non-stop nut November requirements. Though I have to admit I have lost N this month. For the only reason why is if I kept eating nuts if I kept eating nuts each day, if I kept nutting each day, I would have run out of nuts, and nuts are expensive, and we wouldn't have any nuts to use on stream. So I'm sorry, I failed everyone. I failed NNN. We'll do it next year. We'll do it next year. For shame. For shame, yes, for shame. We'll try for NNN next year. We'll try for NNN. And if next year for NNN, let's not do the difficult recipes. Let's not do this again. Especially not this recipe again. This is gonna be a purely off-stream recipe. I'm also gonna make a promise to try not to make any bread stuff on stream again, because holy crap, that is difficult. Super difficult. Kneading the dough, making sure it rises for an hour. Yeah, you gotta after the dough rises for an hour, you gotta like I mean, before the dough rises for that 1 hour, you got to do something for an hour, and that's tough. That is tough. It's easier to make cookies. I can see why. I can see why people avoid that. We'll stick to pot dishes from now on. We'll stick to cookies from now on. We'll stick to pancakes and waffles from now on. Just no bread. We'll do everything except bread and maybe ramen. If I do still kind of want to make ramen on stream, but that's also a very difficult thing to do unless I get like a pressure cooker. I want to try making good ramen. I've always wanted to try making good ramen, and I've tried making ramen several times before. Not on stream, but before I even started streaming. And they have all been a failure. One one ramen experiment I did literally took 72 hours, 3 days, 72 hours, because there was one recipe that said you had to simmer all the animal matter. Oh, okay. Let's not say animal matter. Let's say all the meats, the pork, the chicken, the bones. You had to simmer all that stuff for 72 hours to get all the proteins and all the collagen out of those stuff. I did that once, never again. Because what I found out is that 6 to 12 hours was good enough if you're doing a normal boil to get out the rest of that stuff. Any more than that is like ramen restaurant quality that you should not be doing at home unless you're crazy and are not scared of the gas or electric bills, whichever you're using at the moment. My bills didn't go up that high, but it was not worth the effort. The ramen broth I came out with after that was not great. It was bitter. I'm not sure why it was bitter. It might have been the fish parts I used, because ramen broth is like a mixture of things. Typically, it's like a mixture of whatever main protein, like chicken or pork, and usually there's some fish element to it, though not all of it. It's usually a mixture of like at least two or three different broths, if I understand it correctly. Yeah, the bitter part came from, so there's like these tiny little sardines. Like there's this tiny little dried fish or sardines. I'm not sure what it is exactly. That if you don't take off the heads, and if you don't clean the fish properly, then there's some stuff in there that's gonna make it bitter. Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's the guts, but it's definitely something in the head, because I'm hoping the guts are already. No, if they're that small, they're not gonna be cleaned. It could have been the guts, but at the very least, the head was supposedly the bitter part. But yeah, not doing it again. I don't think I'd be patient enough for 72 hours of ramen. I was, just because I wanted to see if it made a difference. Also, I wanted to see if I also thought that was what I needed to do, because there were other things I also did that didn't work. Apparently, not. I've been reading through more ramen. I've been reading through more ramen stuff, and I think I want to say that maybe part of the reason why my broth isn't coming out too well is because I'm using the wrong pork stuff. I don't know if that's correct. Like I think supposedly pork feet, uh, like yeah, pork feet, pork claws, whatever you want to call them, are good for like broth making, but there's also some articles that say don't do that because it's actually pretty bitter if you do that. Use another part instead. But it's really hard to find. It's really hard to find parts that are not feet for pork. So the one broth that I did kind of have some success with is like a shrimp broth. But I think I added too much sugar to that one, so it was too sweet. But shrimp is really easy to make. It just takes maybe like 1 or 2 hours and you're done. You just have to concentrate it quite a bit more. But hard work does pay off, especially for cooking. Yeah, I mean the thing is, the thing with cooking is you either someone teaches you how to make certain recipes, or you learn it yourself. And access to the people who know how to make those recipes is really hard to do. You can make a very simple ramen. There are very simple ramen recipes on the internet that doesn't have to do any lengthy boil whatsoever. All you need is some fish stock, some soy sauce, and maybe chicken broth, and you can make ramen easily that way. That's perfectly fine. That's like home style ramen. But what I was trying to do was like, what I was trying to do was like making restaurant quality ramen because that's all I knew. Once I had good ramen, you just kind of want to try to see how close you can get to the restaurant style. At least for me. I mean, there are other like home cooks out there who do that kind of thing too. I think like experiment and figure out if it's gonna work or not, or how you can make it. Half the reason why half the reason why I even got into cooking was because I wanted to make the stuff I grew up eating. You know, that's the main reason. And also learning how to make my favorite foods that I didn't grow up eating, like in the restaurants and stuff, and on the travels. So yeah, I mean, it's a good motivation for wanting to know how to cook. At least for me, not everyone is like that. I do know there are people that think of cooking as a chore, and it can be as a chore if you cook every day. Because cooking does take a long time. If you're not making things in batches, it's going to not be fun. It's If you cook every day, it's not going to be fun. It's like it takes at least 30 minutes to an hour, maybe longer, just to make something. And if you are the type of person who gets tired of eating the same thing day after day, then you have to cook every day. If you don't mind it, you can always mix the leftovers with something. Oh, I know good meats. It definitely takes time, but it doesn't all have to always be that way. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to prepare ahead of time, which a lot of people don't seem to realize. You don't have to do everything at once. You can always prepare like meats ahead of time. Vegetables, not you don't really have to because those are easy to cook. But meats do take some preparation, and especially for marinades, you could like let them sit overnight, that kind of thing. There's a thawing and all that stuff. I think growing up, we cooked wrong. I'll explain that the cooking wrong part is usually whenever we cooked, we like thawed everything on the spot. We didn't like put it in the fridge overnight. Thaw it in the fridge and then use it that way. It would have been so much easier, and all the prep and stuff like that would have been so much easier. But didn't think about it that time. But now you know better. And most of the time, cooking is more of trying not to repeat the same mistake and trying out something new, just like doing science and art, but edible. Do moist your throat, man. I am moistening my throat. Trying. Thanks for the hydrate, though. Yeah, it's just my mouth dries up really really quickly whenever I talk. I think everyone's like that, though. I think I have more of an issue with that than anything. But yeah, the edible part of cooking is fun. It's also the part that is an issue because someone has to eat them. If no one's taste testing for you, you have to taste your own stuff. And well, at least the best thing about that is you at least know what it tastes like. But if you do have that guinea pig, that test subject that you can ask to taste your food, that is also good. But they may not like you that much after several failed attempts. I wish I had a taste tester though. I wish I had a taste tester. That would be fun. Maybe that's why I don't have a girlfriend. Because if I had a girlfriend, they would be my taste tester, and they would have to eat all the weird stuff that I make. But I just like messing around too much with food. I mean, I can make normal food easily. I have some chicken in the fridge right now that I that I was supposed to cook last night, but I ate some really bad fried fish for that day. So it's like, okay, we'll cook it tomorrow then, which I'll cook later. Basically, have some chicken thighs in the fridge, coated with some curry powder, and yeah, I mean that's gonna penetrate really well because it's been there for at least a day in the fridge now, and when I make the curry, it's gonna hopefully gonna be super super flavorful. That's the hope. That's the hope. Either you nail it the first time and they are madly in love with you, or you just fuck up so much that you lost them as a friend. Ah, here's the problem. We haven't even gotten to the friend part yet, so we don't have anyone like that, sadly. And I don't want to do any Tinder stuff. I actually tried Tinder before just to see what the heck it was about. And holy crap, that the thing is heavily heavily stacked against guys. Um and it's just not a good platform altogether. Though I have had a friend that used it before, and they actually got married. So it works for some people. I'm not patient enough for that. I'd rather just be single, you know. I'd rather just be single, and if I meet someone nice, sure, that's great. But I'd rather be single than have to go through all that, yeah, online dating stuff. It's just, it's not great. A friend of mine gave me Tinder Gold, and I can't find a good girl on it. Sad. I mean, the thing. Here's a funny thing. Girls don't have to pay. If I remember correctly, girls don't have to pay, but guys do. So who is it really exploiting? It's exploiting the guys. And the guys, since they have to pay, it would be fine if it was like a 50-50 split, right? 50% the girl pays, 50% the guy pays. And now the timer's done. Okay, turning off the heater. Turning the bell. Okay. Okay, we turned off the stove, but we're gonna leave it there for 5 more minutes so that apparently if we do that, it doesn't deflate. So, all right, it should be good. Okay, so 5 more minutes, we'll take it off. But yeah, I don't know. It works for some people. Some people are just there. A lot of people there are just there to hook up. I get it. I get it. Um, it's not for me. It's just not for me. Maybe it's the way I talk because I don't know how to be smooth with it. This doesn't bode well for my Tinder exploits. What? Girls don't pay for Tinder Gold? I don't think they do. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they do. Um, at least that's how it is with most dating apps. Girls don't typically pay, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I know the couple I did try, they didn't. But I think there are some that both do pay. I do know that even for free, you can like swipe, right? You can swipe on Tinder and you can like contact them, like actually chat them up. But if you want to see more details or something and talk to them more, you have to pay for the premium, and it's expensive and it's not guaranteed. So it's like, what the heck am I paying for? I'm paying for a chatting app basically. I would rather find my future waifu through Discord, through the many gotcha games that we play. Sure, there are guys there too, but there are some waifus that play gotcha games. So it's like, yeah. Wait till you see what nightclub scenes are like. Oh my gosh. I've never been interested in a nightclub scene. It's just not my thing. I've just never been into the nightclub scene. Like drinking, I drink socially. I don't really do any of that. I don't really like bar hopping, I don't really do that. I do restaurant hopping and not bar hopping. And restaurant hopping is fun, but it's more fun if you bring someone else along with you. But you also need to know someone already to do that. So it's a little tough. It's a little tough, not gonna lie. But I'm not too, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm past the point where I'm like worried about having a partner. But if I do see a potential partner, I should be more proactive about, you know, letting them know about that, especially if they're still single. Because I feel like there's a lot of girls that are not single. And whenever you do find someone who you like, they're not single. And it's like, oh, crap. Whoa. This is awkward. And then usually the girls who you don't, or let's say girls for now because that's my preference, but whatever your preference is, there is someone that you're interested in, right? There's someone you're interested in, and you don't think of much about them, but they're also single, but they're not your type. You know, it's tough, but you don't want to just like go with someone who's not your type just to have someone as a partner. You know, it's it's not the way to go. I don't feel like it's the way to go. So, oh well, what are you gonna do? Yeah, totally. Sometimes not sure they unmatch me or just the app messing with me. Yeah, about that. I feel like about half the time it's ghosting, and I don't even know half the time if the other person is interested at all. Because they have like several guys that they're catfishing. Because most of the time it's catfishing. Most of the time it's catfishing. Like 95% or something. Let's see. I don't do bars and nightclubs. It's too noisy for me. Yeah, I've actually never been into that. Like I like music, but nightclub scene is not my thing. I never understood it. I've never understood the nightclub scene. I've never understood heavy drinking. Uh, like I drink, but not heavily. I don't like drink to pass out or drink to hit up other people. Though I will admit that drinking does help make me chatty. But if I drink a certain amount, I stop being chatty and I start falling asleep. I am a sleepy drunk. I think I'm a sleepy drunk. It has happened before on stream where I've drank enough and started getting sleepy, so I try to avoid it for the most part. Yeah, don't worry, it's weighed against you there too. Yeah, with the Tinder. Even then, married women make great friends. More recipes for Ruka. I mean, sure, I guess. Married women are great for cooking advice if they're the type who actually know how to cook well. There are some that don't. Let's not fool ourselves. There are some people that don't know how to cook, even when married. I feel like a lot of single people learn their cooking skills because they have to learn how to cook for themselves if they don't do takeout all the time. Uh, though I do know a lot of people do takeout just because it's more convenient and it's just more expensive, but it's also convenient. I don't do takeout because I like cooking. That's just me. Let's see too. I drink for fun. I drink socially. I don't think I've actually drank by myself much. I think no, yeah. I mean, if I find a drink that I like to try, I will drink that by myself. But normally I drink with friends. Water. Normally I drink with friends, and a lot of times we just don't hang out enough to do that. So it's like, yeah. I do like whenever I'm out in Japan though, and like eating in a restaurant, I will drink then. I will drink in Japan almost every time I go out by myself in a restaurant, just because it's fun to do it there. But when you're in your local area, not as much. It's not as fun, I don't think. I feel like they have more varied drinks over there. Like here, it's all about cocktails, and they do cocktails there too. But I also like their highballs. I like the highballs over there for some reason. It's pretty nice. I like the. I think I had like a pineapple highball and a peach highball. Those were really good. Let's see. Better than violent drunk, yeah. I guess it's better than violence. Uber Eats food is strong with some. Well, here's the thing with Uber Eats. A lot of people get their food delivered, and that's expensive. What I do Uber Eats. I actually do Uber Eats, but only because I can get it. I can get the food for free. I can get my Uber Eats food for free, and I don't get a driver to deliver it to me. I just pick it up. I know it's kind of against the concept of Uber Eats, but I just pick it up, and that's how I get my Uber Eats. I pick it up on the way from work typically, or on the way when I'm out and going back home. That's when I usually pick it up. Like say I'm in a grocery store or something, and oh, I want to get something today, and I can do it because it's free for today, and so we just pick it up there. It's so hard to find a bar around me that knows how to use Midori. Always hard to buy the stuff. What is Midori? Okay, it looks like we have a little issue with the buns. Why does it look brown? Why does the bun look brown? Isn't it supposed to be white? Hold up, let's get the steam out of the way. Hold up. This looks wrong. This looks wrong! Why does it look like this? Why does it look like this? What is wrong with this meat bun? Why did it turn brown? It's soft. Hold it just a sec. I need to get a plate. We need to turn that noise gate off because I'm far from the thing now. I need to get a plate though. We're gonna plate this up. But it looks wrong. What the heck happened here? I'm not sure what happened. This was unexpected. Isn't this supposed to be white? Isn't this supposed to be white? Cocktails are too expensive. I don't do that to the bar. Yeah, melon. Oh, melon liqueur. That's what Midori is. Yeah, I thought this was supposed to be white. Why are they brown? It's like we're making bread. Was it because it was too close to the heat? I wonder if that's why. It's probably because it was too close to the heat, right? I mean, it smells like bread. And it's very soft, so there's no issue with the softness. The question is, why brown? If meat bun, why brown? I have never seen a brown meat bun before. How did this happen? Okay, let's try to take us out. Let's try to take one out. The rest of this is going to be there. So we have our meat bun here. Let's go ahead and take that wax paper off because we don't want to eat that. I am going to take a picture really quick for the community post. This is going to be a very weird community post. Does anyone have any idea why it turned out this way? What did I do wrong? I don't know what I did wrong. Okay. So let's let it cool down a little bit. Let's make sure we got the... Okay, so it's a better close up if I do this. But you can see here, it expanded as expected. It turned brown for some reason. I wonder if it's because I was using unbleached flour. Is that possibly why? If I use bleached flour, maybe it would have turned white or stayed white. But I may have used unbleached flour. I don't know anymore because I don't have the packaging on the flour anymore. The dough, though, let's just take a piece of the dough. It's very soft. The dough tastes okay. That's a good sign. The dough tastes okay. It's very fluffy. Probably a little bit bigger than what a meat bun should be. It should be smaller. Well, we use a lot of dough. But ideally, the amount of dough I used should have been flatter. It should have been smaller. But you know, for an experiment, this is okay. You did say it was a little too hard on moisture. I don't think that would be a reason why it would turn brown, though. I think it's the type of flour I use, but even then, it should not be like this. Also, to make it not strange, take a picture with them all together. True. Let's do that. Let's do that really quick before I do that. So, okay, we have several pictures now. Let's go do that. It looks like a meat donut. Okay, let's just open this up first. Let's just open this up first and see what happened in the inside. And not quite what I expected. So ideally, right? Ideally, the meat would be more in the middle, not quite here on the sides. It's there, but there's also way too much dough. It looks like it has way too much dough. We did use a lot of dough, but it's too much even for that. So far, this experiment has not come out right. Definitely it needs a lot more tweaking. Definitely a dough problem. Definitely a skill issue with the dough. Okay, let's see if adding any sauce to this. Well, let's do no sauce first. No sauce first, and then we'll add this. We'll add extra sauce. Hopefully, at least the meat filling is gonna be decent. So itadakimasu. Oh. Not bad. The filling is not bad. Not great, but not bad either. Way too much dough. We've already said that enough times. Way too much dough. The flavor there is a little spicy. I couldn't taste really the 5-spice too much, but there is hints of that. Where's the spice coming from? I didn't add any peppers. It's probably from the sausage. It's probably from the fake sausage meat. But the texture of the filling, the little texture of the filling though, is okay. It's actually pretty decent. Goes very well with the bread. So far, the only issue with this is that the bread is too thick in every way possible. The bread is too thick in every way possible, and it turned brown. It turned brown all the way through. It's just not the... Look at this. It's brown all the way through. Not just the top, but also the inside. I don't think even bread does this. So what the heck happened here? What the heck happened here? Did I just use a too high of a steam? Was the steam too hot? I think the recipe did say use a low boil to steam, but I didn't think much of it. I thought this would be okay. I thought the high boil would be okay, but maybe the low boil is actually what I was supposed to do. Maybe that's why it turned brown. It could also be the flour I use. I may have used unbleached flour. It's not wheat flour. It's regular all-purpose flour. So it's like, what the heck happened here? Let's add a little bit more. Let's add a little sauce to this. Let's see if the sauce actually came out okay. With the meat, the sauce seems okay, but the separated sauce is now pretty thick, decently thick. See that? You can kind of see it. The sauce is thickened up with that cornstarch and everything else we added in there. And itadakimasu again. Hopefully the sauce is good by itself. Sauce is not bad. It's not as flavor. It's not as sweet as I would like it, but it's pretty good. What kind of sauce is it? It is a mixture of soy sauce, oyster sauce, and let's see, what else was there? Oyster sauce, soy sauce, cornstarch, water. That's it. Also sugar, some sugar. Caramel, soy sauce. Not a whole lot of sugar to make caramel, but there was definitely sugar here. Why is it brown? I can't tell you right now. I don't know why it's brown. It turned out brown for some reason. Maybe because my heat was too high. Maybe the flour was unbleached. I don't remember anymore. Sounds like a bit of an umami overload. I think it was okay. I think the sauce came out okay. The real mystery here is the dough. It's the dough. The real mystery is this dough. Like, what the heck happened here? What the heck happened here? I don't... If someone can tell me... If someone can tell me later in the description, if you ever find out why this turned out this way, please let me know. Or if you know right now, we can discuss it right now. It became baked instead of steamed. It was in a steamer though. I steamed it. Do you think it's because I steamed it at too high of a heat? The water was at full boil. The water was at full boil. Do you think that could have been the case? If that was the case, I can see why. I mean, I'll try this again off stream and see I can make it actually look white. But the funny thing is it looks baked, but it's still soft. Look at this. It's still soft. It feels like a steamed bun, but it has the color of a bread. And just to make the point clear, it's brown throughout. It's brown throughout. Even bread is not brown throughout. Even bread has like a white inside. So this is like, what the heck happened? It still tastes good. It still tastes okay, despite how big and fluffy this shopao is. But it's not even like pandesal right now. It's not even like pandesal. Pandesal, I can make okay. I will not make it on stream. I refuse. Especially if I'm going to have to do it by hand, I refuse. I can't use a mixer on stream for reflection reasons, but unless I can figure out how to do that without reflection. But it's weird. Did you put something in the water? No, the water was... Well, the thing is, this asked for milk, not water. But I've done milk before in bread, and it was fine. It shouldn't do this. It should not turn brown. So it shouldn't do that. Maybe the sauce permeated in the dough while steaming. Here's the thing. Look, this is the filling we use. We have some leftover filling. I did not put a whole lot of sauce in here. Just enough to coat the filling. And whatever sauce was in there, if it did permeate through here, it would not have permeated, it should not have permeated so evenly All right, it should not have permeated so evenly on top. It should have been more concentrated at the bottom, but it should have been concentrated in the inside, not the outside. All right, not. Oh, and then my backup light dies. Okay, that's fine. But it should have done it in the outside. Look at this. It's even. It's even throughout. The browning is even throughout. This is gonna. Any future VOD watchers, please explain to me what I did wrong. Explain to me what I did wrong. Replicate what I did wrong, please. And tell me how to fix it, because this is an ordeal to make already. And I need to figure I need to figure this out. I need to figure this out. The steamer turned into an oven somehow. Do you think? Okay, so I have a 2-tier steamer, but I did not use like an empty bottom. So this one was empty, and this part was like directly on the boiling, not directly on the boiling water, but directly on the pot with the boiling water. I don't think it should make a difference, but do you think I should have put like a spacer here? A spacer at the bottom, and then the thing where everything else is cooking, and then cover the top. Do you think that's what I should have done? I'm starting to think that's what I should have done, but I don't know. I'm starting to think it's because of the temperature. Did you put the parchment in the steamer? I put the parchment at the bottom of these things, yes. Was I supposed to put a parchment on the steamer itself? Because if I was supposed to, I did not do that. I did not do that. I don't think I've ever. I didn't know you were supposed to do that. If you are supposed to do that. Back to the lab for this one. Yep, 100% back to the lab on this one. It's still fluffy. It tastes good. It just didn't turn out like expected. Also way too thick. It's a mystery. This is a mystery. I told you I tried to make this before, right? I told you I tried to make this before. I bombed it. And this is a step in the right direction after years. I won't tell you how many years since the last one, but it's been years since the last one. This is a step in the right direction, just a weird step in a different direction. Yeah, please give me any insights. Also, if you... I was using a recipe I found online, and just use half of the ingredients because I wanted to make like a small batch. But I'll put the link to the recipe in the description after the stream is over. But yeah, I think this is gonna have to be a mystery for now. Question mark. I don't know what else to say about it. It's very strange. It is very strange. So, I'm gonna clean up here and eat what I can. I would give today's cooking experiment a D ranking. Honestly, this is a D rank stream. Points being, filling was good, fluffiness was good, didn't come out as expected. The filling didn't. I put 2 tablespoons in here, and it didn't fill up as much as I thought it would. So either I have to use less dough, or I have to use more filling, whichever one. Probably less dough. The sauce wasn't quite what I had in mind, but it still was. It worked fairly well. But yeah, I didn't do anything too weird on the stream. We didn't even use the nuts this time, which. Oh well. No, we failed in the end because of that again. So we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to think of that. We're gonna have to think about this. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream right now. I'm gonna end the stream right now. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching. We're gonna have to brainstorm on this. If you have any ideas on what the heck I did wrong, please let me know. Please let me know in the comments later. I will also be posting a community post later of what we made today with a clearer picture of everything here. And yeah, I hope I hope next time we try this, if we try this again, it's not going to turn out so odd. Find out how Ruka turned a white bun into bread. Stay tuned for more. Yeah, this was not what I expected. Yeah, so for next week, I hope so. Okay, so for next week is actually a little bit of a toss up of what we're going to do. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. So normally we do a Tokyo treat stream, right? The snack review, and supposedly the box is currently shipped. They shipped it 3 weeks ago, and it hasn't gotten here yet. So if I don't get it by this week, we are gonna have to do something else besides a snack review stream next week. So just a heads up on that. Just a heads up on that one. And otherwise, I will see you next time. Tomorrow we'll be doing a NeuroCloud special first look. It will be it will be in the morning, not early in the morning, but it will be in the morning. So just because I want to get started on that quickly, and if I feel like streaming again later that day, I will. But it's probably going to be around the same time we started the cooking stream. So just keep that in mind if you want to drop by at that time. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Next time being probably Wednesday. I'll be doing a stream on. I'll be since we're doing the NeuroCloud thing tomorrow. I'm gonna be moving the 13 Sentinel stream from Tuesday to Wednesday instead. So yeah, same time as today. Same time as today for the NeuroCloud. If everything goes well, if everything goes well, same time. Yeah, so that's all I got. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. And I know that's a whole bunch of stuff. I'll try to make I'll try to put that information in the community post later. So yeah, thank you again, everyone, and have a nice rest of your day. See ya. Okay. Button ending.